If you're a coach, consultant, podcaster, public speaker, and you want to be putting out more content, like much more, but you don't know how, then you need to watch this video. I'm Chris Salome, and I help coaches, consultants, and public speakers create content at scale so they can get their message in front of more of the right people. One of the most common conversations I've had in the past 7 years that I've started helping people grow their content bank is how do you make more? If you're like most people, you see the amount of content that's being made by the biggest people in your field, and you're probably overwhelmed by it. What you need to know is that almost every one of the biggest creators have figured out a way to make more content in less time. Now, yes, it's true that there are some online personalities that still operate in this hustle mentality. That's not what we're going to be talking about here. I'm about to share a way that you can make 10 times the content in less time than you're currently spending on your pathetic 3 posts per week. Now, one disclaimer that I'll give here is this strategy is not for the faint of heart. You'll have to be ready to see your own face on a daily basis, which is most of the time the reason why you haven't started yet to begin with. So let's get into it. Before you do anything, you must specifically decide on what you want to talk about or teach. Do not take this step lightly. The first thing that keeps you from starting and building momentum is that your topic scope is way too broad. Now, you might be thinking you're an exception because you talk about health or you talk about business strategies, which can be broad topics. So let's look a little deeper. Even the best people started with a niche and then broadened over a long timeline. But they always stick to their core message. If you need proof, here are 3 examples of that. The first is Dr. Andrew Huberman, who got started talking about his love for neuroscience. He has evolved to discussions on science and science-based tools for everyday life, but if you watch closely, he always brings it back to the role that the brain plays. Next is Thomas DeLauer, who initially started talking about how he lost over 100 pounds. Much of that was intermittent fasting. Now, over 10 years later, he is still talking about fat loss and different types of diet and exercise. But he almost always has one core message, which is fat loss. Even after 10 years, it has not gotten old to his audience. And finally, Peter McKinnon, who uploaded his first video on September 23, 2015. His channel didn't take off until he started talking about camera equipment and sort of how-to videos for photography. What does he still talk about today after all that time? Cameras and photography. And of course, his topics have broadened, but he consistently sticks to his core topics. These 3 topic masters should illustrate the point that you see a need, you know your topic, and you stick to it. So now that you have your core topic, and it's time to find all the subtopics that will live under that umbrella. Let's again use Thomas DeLauer as an example. Over the years, his core content has not changed. One might ask, how many topics can be in fat loss? Well, it turns out you can never exhaust the topic because you'll always have new people seeing your videos, pictures, and content text. And if someone is a fan or just interested in that topic, they'll even watch something if it's a little bit repetitive because it reassures them of their already prior knowledge. It's kind of like watching your favorite movie over and over again. So here's an activity you can do to come up with your first 25 to 50 topic ideas. Let's say you are coaching people on weight loss. Now, you want to create 4 lists here. 2 of the lists are going to be for beginners, and 2 of the lists are going to be for intermediate, somebody who knows a little bit about the topic. I prefer to start by speaking to beginners and keeping it simple. This is actually a core element in adult learning. The first list you're going to make is what are the most common questions that beginners would ask on weight loss. These questions are coming up for the person who is maybe overweight and has very little knowledge on what to do about it, and they want to lose that weight. What are all the questions that they would ask or the myths that you could bust for them before they start their journey? They may ask questions like, can I ever eat ice cream again? Or am I going to have to starve myself? Will I eat anything that tastes good? Will I have to torture myself at the gym? Can this even be done? These are all questions that an absolute beginner might ask. So you want to brainstorm here. This should be a long list. The second list is beginner questions that they should be asking. This is where you can help them see the light at the end of the tunnel. fat loss, again, these could be questions like, what are the best tasting healthy foods? Or what are the top 5 habits or maybe belief systems that healthy people have? Is it possible to be happy while losing weight? Again, here the list can go on, but the questions that you're asking are now guiding the person to a new level of thinking and some questions that they wouldn't have known to ask yet. Now, what you want to do is repeat that same process, but keep the intermediate level in mind. Using the same example, this might be the difference between simple carbs and complex carbs, or time-restricted eating versus a 3-day fast. After creating these 4 lists, you will have all you need to create a plethora of content that will last you a long time. So if you just found that tip helpful, I just want you to know I won't be offended if you press the like button, and while you're down there, subscribe. It could put a smile on my face. My next step is now to make the content. Now there will be a ton of ways that you can create content from one body of knowledge, and you now have a large list of topics. For coaches and consultants, my favorite way to make a lot of video content in just one sitting is to have a friend, somebody that you trust, interview you on camera with these questions lists. Now, this could be podcast style as well, where you're having a conversation, or documentary style, where they're off camera interviewing you. This type of content is very popular right now and makes you look more like an authority. If you don't have someone who can do this, then you can sit in front of the camera or a phone if that's all you have and ask yourself these questions out loud and then answer them. I like to leave the camera running, and I'll share why in just a minute. One hot tip here is to change your wardrobe between each questions list. This will keep variety in your videos and make it look like they kind of came from multiple days. You can even change your background here to make it look like you had multiple setups. The result you get is one long form video by each of the interviews that you did answering those questions lists. If it's a podcast, you have an awesome video ready to go with just very little editing. People love watching conversations right now. Now that you have these long form videos, we are going to multiply your content. And here's the secret. Upload each of those long form interviews to Opus Clip. It's a cloud-based software that will cut and caption your clip selections using AI. This is why I left the camera running, because Opus Clip will do these cuts automatically. Now, admittedly, it's not quite perfect yet, but it's very close, and I usually get about 10 cuts after one long interview. You can edit the selections directly inside of the software and download them straight to your desktop. Again, I use this all the time. It's not perfect, but the editing process is pretty easy, and it takes it from multiple hours to under 30 minutes. If you did a great job with your questions, you could get up to 40 awesome short videos here from these 4 lists. Now you're going to sift through each of the videos and find empowering sound bites from those clips. You can use Canva to create image posts and carousels and even long form blogs using the transcripts from your video content. There are a ton of transcription software, so I won't recommend one here. And without exaggerating, you could get up to 6 months of content from this one sitting. For one of my clients, I've gotten a year of content by just filming 2 of his speaking engagements and having a couple of interviews. The more you practice this, the better you will get in the future. You can really stretch content for a long time. My final tip in this video is find a scheduling app that sends a notification to your phone when it's time to post. This will allow you to post organically from your phone and add trending music and use the other in-app tools that are not available in scheduling apps. It doesn't take a long time to get used to this workflow, and it could save you hundreds of hours each year in creating and scheduling content for your social channels, YouTube, and the like. This is a process that I have time tested and evolved really for the last 7 years, and I want to tell you, once you start to try this, especially if you're a speaker, coach, consultant, or have a podcast, and you're somebody who does talking head and teaching videos like you teach content, this will be unbelievable in the amount of content that you can create in a short period of time and continue to go back and repurpose that content for a long time. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you happen to be struggling to figure out, what is your topic, who you want to talk about, then check this video out that I created on how to find a sellable niche. This video will help you ask some questions that'll guide you in the direction of really who it is you want to speak to, because without knowing that, you're just making videos. Currently, there are over 30 million channels alone on YouTube. So you'll really be dumping useless content into a large red ocean, and you're never gonna get the views, you're never gonna get the growth, and most importantly, you're not gonna reach the people that you're looking to reach. So I really hope you check out that video. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.